tonight on pay-per-view. And on the top of the card is Jones, Cormier 2. The rematch has basically been 2.5 years in the making, but it's finally here. This time, Daniel Cormier has the belt. Jon Jones coming off a year long of not even fighting. And joining us on the phone line is the one and only, the MMA Insider, the man who gets the stories before the mainstream media does, Dizz of @TalkMMA. How you doing, my friend?
Josh, Dashawn, ESPN Jersey. How you guys doing today?
We're doing good, despite the cloudy weather outside.
What did you say, Dashawn?
Said good to hear from you, Dizz.
Yeah, you too. How's everybody doing?
You know, man, we got to get into this. So,
I can hear it. It's cooking. I can feel the oven firing up right now.
So, for those who don't know, my man Dizz and I, we text at least once or twice a week, at worst. Like, of my whole social life, the two people on the air right now are the extent of my texting outside of work. Are on the air with me right now. So you can judge me, folks, based on that right now. But the point is,
where's the fiddle? Where's the backdrop of the fiddle in the background?
The backdrop is this: Jones versus Cormier tonight. Here is the deal: I am not a Jon Jones fan. I don't care for the guy. I don't like the fact that he doesn't own his ish. I don't like the fact that this guy has gotten all kinds of trouble. He always has an excuse for it. He tells TMZ how much he loves cocaine and how the greatest weekend of his life was when he was high on cocaine. He beat Daniel Cormier, how he cheats on his girl, how he goes out and gets in hit and runs away from the scene, and then later on blames it on the drug addiction. I just either want him to be humbled or I want him to own what he does instead of coming up with excuses.
So in other words, you want him to be pounded into a pulp.
I want him either to be obliterated or I want him to walk up on stage one day and just be like, here are my transgressions. This is why I was a bad person. And I'm just going to be a better man from now on. Go ahead, Dizz.
Oh, I'm still waiting to hear what explanation Jon Jones owes us, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go ahead and dig into this. So let's go back to when he was tested for recreational drugs, or even before that when he had been arrested for a DUI in New York. So let's go in chronological order here. He was arrested for a DUI back in New York. He got fined by the UFC. He got tested out of competition, which he should have never been tested for. Had he not been tested for recreational drugs by USADA out of competition, we would have never known about the cocaine usage until much later. Then there's the hit and run accident, obviously. He paid his due. He paid his debt to society. And that's the way it happens. If you have money, if you've got money, that's all the government and that's all the plaintiffs want. They don't care about jail time if you've got the money to pay. If you've got the money or the time, that's all that the government wants. It's always that way. It's been that way traditionally. That's why Floyd Mayweather, even though he likes to spend a lot of money, he's cheap. He just went ahead and said, I'll just go spend a year in jail, make some friends. So, and then you have the problem with allegedly taking steroids. Jon Jones, first and foremost, Jon Jones does not need steroids to beat Daniel Cormier, and he damn well knows it. Everybody knows it. But people get very shaded. They get very shaded by their disdain for Jon Jones and what he could have been up to this point in his career, that they just go ahead and they fuel off of that anger, that frustration. And you said something about, I want him to own up. I want him to be humbled. I want him to be humiliated. Cheat on your girlfriend and then go home and tell me how humiliating that is. How about the whole world talking about you being a piece of you know what? I had to stop myself there. How about the entire world being a skeptic about whether or not that you have to use performance-enhancing drugs? First and foremost, I'm going to kill the whole steroid and PED thing right now. The guy took gas station erectile pills so he could go back to whoever he was banging, whether it was girlfriend or whether it was, the girl those 3 boxes of condoms were intended for in the SUV on the night of the hit and run. It's first and foremost, it's humiliating enough. Cocaine, and I'm going to say it in this fashion, cocaine gives you that wet noodle syndrome, that limp wet noodle syndrome. So yeah, he had to take some form of, pill to get his action going. That's not unheard of. There's a lot of men do it. So, but I want to touch on the part where people think that he needs to be humbled or he owes anybody any explanations. This guy does not owe anybody any explanations other than his girlfriend, other than his children, other than the government who he paid the judicial system who he paid his debt to, and to Vanessa Sonnenberg, the girl that he hit. Those are the only people he owes any explanation to. We are nobody. We are not the morale police. And I can speak on this topic because I used to be that person. I used to be the person who says everybody owes somebody something for something they did. Well, it wasn't done to me. It wasn't done to you. It wasn't done to Dashawn. Nobody owes anybody any explanations other than to the people it's directly involved in.
But Diz, let me jump in here. Here's the thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you get up behind a microphone at a press conference, and every time a subject comes up of something that you did, you either have an excuse for it or you jokingly dismiss it. That to me says that you are not embarrassed, that you did not, these things that happened to you did not impact you in a way to bring you back down to earth. That he still does not believe that he faced mortality, that he believes that he is still above the fray. And the problem is that, first of all, it's a bad example for society that we allow these athletes to just get away with this, and we just, well, things happen.
But he didn't get away with it. What did he get away? He hasn't gotten away with it. He's paid his debt. He paid his settlement.
But he doesn't seem to get that.
He's moving forward, and I think we all should too. Listen, I'm the first person to speak out against domestic violence. I was the first person to slam War Machine for nearly killing Christine McAdee. I was the first person to jump on that train because I disagree with it. But when Floyd Mayweather hit his girlfriend, well, people still into the Money Mac. Well, the Money May. Why is people into Mayweather? He served his time in prison. I think it's time to move on. Everybody moved on from the Floyd Mayweather thing. Connor just brings it up because he's promoting a fight.
Sure.
So it's time to move on. These happened back in 2015, 2 years ago.
I agree with this.
Run accident. It was bad. It happened 2 years ago. It's time to move on. Everybody deserves redemption.
Redemption is great if you come out like for example, when Alex Rodriguez got caught, he admitted it. He just straight up admitted it. Whereas Mark McGuire still has excuses this day. Sammy Sosa still has excuses this day. We treat one guy different than the other. And I look at Jon Jones the same way. Did he pay his debt? Sure. Okay, he was suspended for a year. He's had to deal with legal issues. But then when he talks about it in public, he acts like it's no big deal.
Tens of millions of dollars. And on top of that, he lost tens of millions of dollars and lost his Nike sponsorship. This guy has paid his humiliation check. That check has been cashed.
I'm sorry, man. I hear more contrition out of one sentence out of Michael Vick for who he did than a lifetime out of what comes out of Jon Jones' mouth.
Hold on. If I may interject, I mean, I see where Dizz is coming from, though, with the Jon Jones thing. I mean, he has kind of served everything that humble pie. He doesn't owe anybody any type of explanation or any type of apology.
When you hear Michael Vick open his mouth, anytime the subject comes up, he's contrite, he's apologetic, he's going out of his way.
This is true, but Michael Vick is at a different part of his career now. Like, if Michael Vick was still 25 or in his prime and still doing it at a high level, do you think that you would still see that same contrite after prison?
He was, the minute he came out of prison, it was contrition from that day on.
But Michael Vick knew that there wasn't the same clamor for his profession. Like, he knew that he wasn't getting a $100 million contract starting job, so he had to be contrite.
Well, that makes it even worse then, because if Jon Jones is not being contrite because he knows he's going to get money, then it makes it worse.
I just feel like that while your points are fair, I feel like it's a little bit of a reach to kind of say that he owes anybody any type of, okay, I need to come out and be contrite like Michael Vick, or I use the Chris Brown situation too, when, he did everything he did and he kind of did his community service and stuff like that. There's still people to this day that want Chris Brown every time that he goes behind a mic to say, you know what, I'm a piece of you-know-what for what I did to Rihanna. Yes, it was wrong, but then again, people have to move on.
Fine. I just want Jon Jones to come out and say that he messed up and that he was wrong. I just want him.
He did. He did say that. He answered it to the judicial system. He answered it to the victim. He had to go home and answer it to his girlfriend of so many years that he has kids with. He did answer those questions. He did have to go and admit it. He doesn't owe that admission to us.
But he shouldn't be joking. But he shouldn't be joking. But Dizz, he shouldn't be joking about it to TMZ and to the UFC pressers.
Why? Because he spoke in satire? I do it all the time, and you have me on your show. I speak in satire constantly. I always say negative things about myself, and I always say that I'm going to do something silly I'm not going to.
Yeah, but the quality of your character is way above Jon Jones. Let's get something straight here.
Hey, Jon Jones did a lot of bad things, okay? And and it started when he was 23 years old, okay? He became a multimillionaire at the age 23, okay? It's something that you tell. It's something that college coaches tell professional teams. Hey, I know you want to draft him, but I'm going to let you know you're drafting a 19-year-old, okay? There's a maturity level that comes along with this. I want you to know and say, hey, listen, yeah, okay, we know what we're getting into with this, sort of. They just want the talent. They're not thinking about the baggage that comes with it. And it's like Jon Jones, who was telling this guy at an early age that hey, listen, you're not invincible, okay? You're not above anything yet. Nobody was telling him that. He had to learn it. And over the course of the last years, he's 30 years old now. He was 23 when he started all this stuff. He's had to learn it over the course of the last 7 years, and I think that's a sentence enough. I think all the penalties that he's paid, the money he's missed out on, probably had to go on a couple of dry spells with his girlfriend over, the infidelity. Probably had to. But regardless of what he's had to go through, and I'm going to say it like the way my dad's always said it to me, it's really none of anybody's business. It belongs to the UFC. He's a UFC contractor, independent contractor. He's most likely going to be their champion tonight again. And a new era of Jon Jones is going to begin. And if he owes anything to anybody, he owes it to Dana. He owes it to his girlfriend's judicial system and the person that he hit, and that's it.
And on that note, because I respect you, I'm going to give you the final word on that. So let's get these picks in real quick because I got to hit this break. Cormier Jones, so you're going Jones, right?
I'm going Jones, and I'm going to say if it happens by finish, don't be surprised.
I'm going to say begrudgingly, I'm going to go Jones by decision because I do think that I don't know how. Listen, training videos are one thing and all saying you cut the weight, but when you don't fight for a year, I can see Cormier like winning a round or two and Jones coming on in the later rounds just because Jones is a superior athlete. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right. The next fight, Woodley Maia.
Woodley and Maia. As much as I would love to see Maia humble Woodley, I think that Woodley may knock him out in the first round. I think his hands are very fast. He's strong. His boxing's gotten much better. His striking's gotten so much better, having worked with Duke Rufus out of Rufus Sports, and we know how Duke Rufus guys come to play. I think Woodley gets it done in round one. I think he clips him. I think he takes him out the same way he took out Robbie Lawler. Speed is going to be a major factor here tonight, not just power, not just technique and striking.
I think Maia has...
By the way, Professional Fight League tonight also has a card. Jake Shields is on that card, and he has a win over both Tyron Woodley and Demian Maia. I just wanted to point that out.
He also protects people at protests. Let's throw that in there as well.
Oh, it was amazing, wasn't it?
That was a great video.
Next fight. Great.
Yeah, real quick. I got Woodley winning over Maia by TKO because I think Maia's got one major flaw in his striking, and I think Woodley with a right hand can expose that. We're both picking. We're both picking Cyborg, right?
We're picking Cyborg, but I'm not gonna count out Tanya Evinger from making it nasty. She was a wrestler. You know, people forget that she was a collegiate wrestler at I think it was Missouri Valley.
I believe so. Yes.
She can make it nasty, and plus lesbians are tough.
I think this is going to go 3 rounds. That's what I think.
It might. It's going to be fun though.
Oh, it'll definitely be fun. Lawler versus Cerrone. Who do you got?
I think Lawler rips to that body and drops down on Cerrone. I don't know what round. Don't care what round, but I think Lawler, who's used to fighting at middleweight, and Cerrone used to fighting at lightweight. I like, even though I like Donald Cerrone striking and he's unpredictable, he likes to take risks. I think Robbie's going to come a little bit more calculated. He's been working with Henry Hooft as a damn good striking coach. And I think that he's going to bring something a little different tonight. And I think he finds those abs tonight that I'm a little jealous of.
I'm picking Lawler in a 29-28 decision because I think Cerrone's going to win the first round, and by the end of the fight, both guys are going to be bloody, and it's going to be just nuts. Their faces are going to be destroyed by the end of the fight. That's where I'm going. We got to get out of here, my friend. At Talk MMA, we went a little longer than we were supposed to, but it's always a good time having you on, my friend.
Definitely.
Hey.